So I actually noticed something pretty weird. So, as you guys know, Kyle Kulinski went on to Joe Rogan Experience once again. I believe this is his third appearance over on JRE. And this is weird. First of all, before they used to live stream the Joe Rogan podcast. They do not do that anymore. They publish it after recording it. So the obvious difference between those two things being that if you have it live streamed, there's no like cuts and stuff like that because it's live. But I had never seen any edits before of the Joe Rogan podcast, but it seems to be that that's what's happened in this one. Now, there are two very suspicious cuts here, where they are basically taking a dump on the term classical liberal and its usage nowadays, because grifters like Dave Rubin and idiots like that call themselves a classical liberal without knowing what the hell that means. A classical liberal, if you don't know, dates back to quite a while ago, but if you're looking at, U.S., you're looking at Herbert Spencer. It's an extremely far-right, laissez-faire ideology. So it's a very, very libertarian, anti-government, pro-free market ideology. So, that's what that means. But they're trying to use it as if it's like, oh, I'm an old-school liberal, as in some sort of liberal who's, I don't know what even their definition of that would be. But it's like, no, that's not left-wing or left of center or even center. It's far-right-wing, dude. You're deep in libertarian territory at that point. You're talking about, no income tax. You're talking about no minimum wage, cracking down, releasing regulations of the government has in the market. So we're talking like some pretty strident right-wing stuff here. And let's just hear this out.
Today's day and age, like you said, it could mean you're kind of right-leaning.
Yeah, it's more right of center.
Right.
They call it classical liberal is it's a misleading term.
It is.
If you like classical liberal is
What kind of a cut was that? Look, it happens at 3508.
Term. If you like
It says it's a misleading term, and then there's a very odd cut. Now, what I'm thinking is a possibility is I'm thinking it's possible that the king of doing this was mentioned. That man's name, of course, is Mr. Rave Dubin. They're buddies, so I'm assuming they cut that out, is what it looks like. Otherwise, why the hell would there be these weird, suspicious little cuts here where he does that? But, yeah, classical liberal is not even right of center. It's like, nah, you're pretty deep in Rand Paul libertarian, Lochner era ideology type of thing. So understand that, folks. That's what classical liberalism is. Not some made-up term for right-wing grifters. Now, this wasn't the only cut, though. There was a second cut that happens. This one happens at, I believe, 205.
Well,
which is it?
We have a
38.
giant problem in this country with this whole right-left shit. And this is what I was trying to say earlier when we were talking about the concept of classical liberals, because most people don't even know what the fuck that means. The idea behind it.
And then there's just a random cut. Like, I don't understand what these cuts are for, and it's super weird. So, am I 100% sure that Dave Rubin's name was cut out here? No, I'm not, obviously. I don't know. What I'm telling you is, this is extremely odd. I've never seen the Joe Rogan Experience, like, clipped and cut up and stuff like that in the full podcast format, so I'm not really sure as to what's going on here. But I guess you guys can let me know your thoughts on this. Like, was Dave Rubin's name cut out? What exactly is happening with this? Because certainly it seems to be suspicious is the best way that I would put this. I'll also mention that Kyle's best buddy, whose name is Corin, has said that that's a lie, that it's not true. And I believe he was watching the whole thing live in person. So I'll throw that out there. How much validity or credibility that has, I don't know. You tell me. But let me know what you think about this. I'm curious to hear.